Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is your Carabao Cup final preview on the Shankly Sessions. Joining me, representing the blue side of London, the podfather himself, Ian the Dynamo Kelly. How we doing, Ian? Ian, you're on mute there and you've no camera.
Yep.
You back? You're on mute. You're on mute, my friend.
No, I'm not.
There you go. Now you're back.
See how easy that is for people like to unmute themselves. You told me I'm on mute. Went, boom.
Yeah,
done.
Absolutely.
Why does it take these? Do you ever see journalists even going? Tongue hanging out.
Yeah.
Then again, they generally work for the Sun. So
for where?
Well,
anyway, I thought I'd have you on. Let's do this preview for this massive final tomorrow. I know a lot of people turn around and go like it's the third or fourth trophy that's available to you, but this feels like a big final, doesn't it? Two Champions League teams, you know, and you know, fighting on a number of fronts at the moment. It's a big final, isn't it?
Well, it's two powerhouses, really, isn't it? Like you know what I mean. No matter what way you look at it, with Man City, obviously they're becoming a powerhouse, and we can shit and giggle about it. But I think really, when you look at it historically, like Liverpool and Chelsea are the two big powerhouses of the last 20 years. You know what I mean? And City are now in that bracket, but something special about Liverpool Chelsea games when it comes to knockout football. I think that would be the best way of saying it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I kind of like the one-off ones. I'm not overly interested really in the two-legged ones, because sometimes
you haven't fared too well over them ones. But like in fairness, you've fared pretty well with that fat Spanish waiter, as they said. You know, no, I don't mean any disrespect to Rafa Benitez. I've a lot of respect for Rafa. He won us a European trophies as well. So no, but
hats off to him. He did a great job at everything.
He done the job for both of us, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we sent Frankie in. Agent Frank is in there now.
Yeah. This is the third meeting of both teams. And you've won the previous two.
Mateo Kesman, the first. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're obviously looking to win this for a 9th time. So we got one ahead of Man City. We've let Man City get ahead of themselves the last few years with this League Cup. They've taken it as a very serious trophy over the last few years. I think they've won 4 out of the last 5 or something like that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I am of the opinion, and like I don't really care what anyone says. Twitter is a toxic place when it comes to trophies not meaning something unless you win them. I absolutely think, if you want to say the Community Shield is a bit of a knockoff, fair enough, because it is a Community Shield, but you still want to win it, just because it sets the tone for the season. But I think when it comes to the FA Cup, I always call it the Carling Cup, but the Carabao Cup, we'll say it. I absolutely think these trophies matter. You know what I mean? It's a trophy. It can be the difference in what for a manager, it can be the difference in how you negotiate. Summer dealings. Are you a cup team or are you a league team? Like it really does kind of define. I think personally, the rest of your season and where you go. I have no qualms about saying that I want the strongest team being fielded tomorrow, and I'm sure you're of the same opinion. We all have back and forth banters going. We play the kids in the cup, but no.
Well, I suppose with the exception on our side of Callagher, because I'd have that Irish bias about me. So I'm happy for Callagher to be in goal. Well, in fairness, he's been really good this season as well as a deputy to Alisson as well. So I'm not too upset about that. But everything else, you want your strongest team out there without a shadow of a doubt. And to be honest, if it was Adrian or Alisson, I'd be saying Alisson, not Adrian, even if he played in the Cups. But I have that Irish bias about me.
I guarantee it. Well, look, obviously you and me are both Irish. In fairness, the boy Gallagher is his quality, and he's going to have a great career. You know, I heard so much so that apparently, you know, Celtic were looking for a loan from next season to play all their games, which would be probably not a bad move, or a Premier League team. You know what I mean? I think he's that quality that he could be probably even able to go to a Premier League team or a Championship team. But yeah, I mean, but look, at the same time, I'd be happy if he was do that, you know, because I know that there's no room for sentiment in Chelsea. It's your strongest keeper and your strongest team, and that's it. I mean, like, I think Kepa should play tomorrow, but I know that that's not going to happen. It's going to be
well. He's done well this season for you. He's done well this season.
Absolutely,
and I've listened to a lot of fan channels this week, and they've been talking about how this could potentially go to penalties. And if it did, isn't Kepa your man you want between the sticks for penalties?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was that
best penalty stats in the whole Premier League. I believe in Europe.
Yeah. Potentially, I don't know. I didn't look it up, but
I believe now. I'm not 100%. Don't fact check me on that there. Yeah. So, point I'm making is, you generally see managers like Tuchel is at the point now where he's just literally not even a year and a half into a stint, and this could be his fourth trophy.
I've been so impressed with how he's dealt with all the shit that's been flung at him over the last 6 months. I think he's done an incredible job. He could have easily folded. And I know you've gone through a rough patch sometimes in terms of results and draws and stuff like that. But for him to be able to handle the business in a professional way, the way he's done it, is a testament to the man as well. And especially with the latest stuff that's going on. I mean, we're not going to get too political on the preview, obviously, but certainly it doesn't help.
I don't mind you bringing it up, though. I don't mind you bringing it up, because I'm not going to get political about it either. I know that but, you know, I did know that this would be, you know, part of the topic and address the elephant in the room. Like, I can only speak from my perspective, not Chelsea fans as a whole. I think Roman Abramovich has done an amazing job. I think for the UK and that MP, I'm not going to mention his name, you know, for the sake of your show, in particular, to politicize a football club just because a Russian owner happens to own the football club. I think if we're going to go down that route, then we should really be looking at what Saudis we bring in and what Americans we bring in. You know, if we want to really kind of take moral high grounds on this, you know, then we can throw stones all day long. And you know what we'll end up with? We'll end up with a load of bearded ladies like Monty Python.
Well, you see, the thing about it is Roman's positioned himself nicely as well, because he's been funding the club, and the club owes him a truckload of cash. So it's not as straightforward as people think. But I don't see it going to that place at all.
But did you know that it's come out as fact that Roman Abramovich has also done this in 2019 when Theresa May tried to do those sanctions, which he won in a court of law. Don't forget. This is what these Tories and these MPs don't realise. In a court of law, he was proven. Oh, yeah, there's pictures of him with Vladimir Putin. Yeah, of course, he's Russian. He's an oligarch. Of course, he's going to have meetings with these people. However, he has a £2 billion loan to the club in case something never happens to him.
It's mad to think, isn't it, that, like, you know, and like we feel for the Ukrainian people and everything.
I just wanted to say that as well. I just wanted to say that. I mean, look, this is like I'll do this on Dynamo's Dozen. I'm going to do a podcast on the whole thing and how, you know, we stand with Ukraine, and we do. But I'm going to do a podcast on how, like, you know, how it's got to this level. It should have never happened. But
but it's mad, isn't it? Mad to think that, like, the invasion of a country like that can have such far-reaching consequences as to point, you know, start pointing the finger at the likes of, say, Roman and Chelsea, and you see the Champions League being lifted out of St. Petersburg going to Paris, and everything is like it's mad to think that it has such a far-reaching consequence, that it's not just potentially like one country invading another country, you know, which is, you know, crazy. It's
never good.
The footage we're seeing the same, but it's mad the knock on and the ripple effect it has right through the world of sport and everything else. You know,
I understand the usually people would know me as being very, very abrupt, and I don't hold my opinions in when it comes to it. But on this occasion, I understand what people are trying to do, and I've always been a big fan of the nation of Russia, and been a fan, not necessarily of their politics, you know what I mean? But I'm not a fan of any country's politics, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's never squeaky clean.
Mm.
But I understand what they're trying to do with the World Cup, and the
Champions League.
Eurovision will be a deal breaker. Yes. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the country to go, like, look, anything that nobody wants to go to war with Russia, right? Because.
But I suppose what it does demonstrate, it demonstrates how we're all so closely linked within this world.
Yes.
That ripple effect that goes through the whole globe. And you can understand why potentially people could end up in a world war if we go back through history from a simple beginnings, not a simple beginnings, but like an invasion into one country, and it ripples through the whole continent and the whole world, and we end up in a really big sort of mess, So it's
not too far behind our lifetime as well when you think about it. You know what I mean? It's a scary thought. But but getting on back to the football, and the reason that you're obviously bringing that up, because it is so prevalent and important in what we're talking about. I heard that Wembley were going to do a thing where they were going to do the Ukrainian they were going to put the colours, but then they were saying it could be a thing with Chelsea fans as well, that it would make Chelsea fans kind of almost be like, oh, well, they're guilty purely because their team is, owned by a Russian owner. Which, I mean, let's put context on this. Roman Abramovich hasn't even lived in Russia. Like, he's lived in Israel for the last few years. So I think before we start throwing stones, and look, I get banter. Banter is always going to be a thing, but I think when it comes to this, there needs to be actual context, and like, there's, legally speaking, I think the UK would, well, that Tory guy in particular, apparently he's already been taken to court by Roman's clan. So,
well, I think even from a safety point of view, because it'd be naive to think at the cup final tomorrow that there wouldn't be Chelsea fans there who are Russian, because naturally there would be Russian fans based in the UK who follow Chelsea Football Club because of Roman Abramovich and stuff like that. And I think they have to be, because from a safety point of view and stuff, you don't want to be inciting stuff. You know what I mean? Albeit you don't want to be saying we're not supporting the invasion in any way, but I don't think we should add to it in such a way that it creates, other safety issues elsewhere.
Before we get on to the game as well, I just want to note that Roman Abramovich's daughter yesterday put up an Instagram post. I'll send it to you actually after the show if you want to even put it up. Just to show. Yeah. She put up and said, she said, Russia is not invading Ukraine. One man is, and she said Putin is invading Ukraine. So, a lot of these, that's good context, really, I think.
Well, on a more positive note,
absolutely,
Chelsea tomorrow are about to create football history. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Okay.
They're the first team in English football history to compete in major domestic cup finals in 6 consecutive campaigns. Did you know that?
No.
There you go.
That is pretty impressive, though, isn't it?
Very, very impressive.
Wow.
Not that you want to be called a cup team, but it's
in the 90s we were.
I know.
That's Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah. And Sadio Mane, just to give you another fact about it, Sadio Mane has scored 8 goals.
Can I say something about that kid, by the way?
Yeah.
I just want to, as a Chelsea fan, plaudits go to Salah all the time, and rightly so. And Klopp. Sadio Mane is the modern day Didier Drogba in what he does, in terms of what he does for his country, what he does. I think that man deserves a lot more plaudits than he gets. And you know what? I tell you, I'd happily have him in my team, 100%. But I just wanted just a little side note as an appreciation.
Don't be pimping your club out to him. He ain't going nowhere. And I did notice on the match reaction the other night against Leeds, he looks very happy playing his football again with Salah as well, which is a very dangerous situation for opponents. But he scored 8 goals against Chelsea in all competitions, only netting more in his career against Crystal Palace, 13. So he likes scoring against Chelsea.
He does. He does. Yeah, he does.
Now, another bit of history could be created tomorrow if one Diogo Jota plays. Diogo Jota scored in the quarter-final and the semi-final, and he could become only the second ever Liverpool player to score in a quarter-final, a semi-final, and potentially a final. Who do you think the last man was? I'll give you a hint. It was 1980-81.
Go on.
Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah, you know what? You're trying to turn me into a Liverpool fan. You're throwing all these little stats out because you know I'm a Dalglish fan. I met the man. One of my proudest. Meeting him, John Barnes, and Henrik Larsson in one day as a 14-year-old kid was actually probably one of my highlights of
cracking day. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? Really?
No. You know, as a Chelsea fan and as a Celtic fan, that's a really, really good stat, actually. Yeah,
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Let's get into a bit of team news then. For Chelsea, obviously, we know Chilwell is out. Big loss, of course, but we know he's been out. We know Mount had an ankle injury, but he was on the bench against Lille, didn't feature. So I presume
he's fully fit. He's fully fit.
He's good to go.
I can confirm. Sorry, Chelsea.
Yeah, well, if he's on the bench, he's fully fit anyway. And I seen that Ziyech and Kovacic trained, didn't they? So it looks like they're going to be okay.
They're okay. Yeah,
The only question really is Reece James. I know he went on the trip and stuff like that, but he may feature. He'd be one I'd be concerned about if he.
Well, you heard. Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up because I can see your face kind of going, "Oh shit!" Like, because Tuchel done a little bit of Mourinho, didn't he? In the press conference, he goes, "If I'm crazy enough to play him, I don't know." Like,
So he's playing.
You know, like, I mean, you know, this is an argument in world football. You know, on their day, who was the best right wing back, Trent or James? And I think even you admitted, like, you would probably have a James just for consistency in terms of both, aspects.
We may find out tomorrow, my friend. We may,
you know what I mean?
Tomorrow. It doesn't get any bigger than a day at Wembley, so we will see.
No. Not at all.
Team news for Liverpool, obviously, Firmino looks like he's a doubt, but they don't think he's going to make it. Jota is a race against fitness. They think he may just make it, but I'm not sure whether I want him to feature unless he's 100%, and they need to be careful with that because we've got plenty of options there, to be honest. So there's no need to be risking that crazy.
3 points behind fucking Man City, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. As much as I'm not going to say despise Liverpool Football Club because I don't despise any football club other than Rangers and Man United. And even that word despise with Man United, it's more so I don't like is because you talk shit. Whereas the only football club that I actually detest is Rangers Football Club. I'm going to go out on a limb here for all your Liverpool fans here, and you know, unless something monumental happens and, you know, I don't know, maybe Putin, you know, delays your games or something and helps Chelsea kind of catch up.
Well, he won't be delaying our games. We're American owned, so we're all good at the moment.
Yeah, but that means you're fucked because America aren't going to do shit.
which means our games will go ahead. So it's
not a Putin. If he goes to Russia, they go, okay, yes, sir, no problem.
Yeah, but see, we've played you twice in the league, so it's all good.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, it's grand. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If any of these monumental things happen, I want Liverpool to win the league.
I certainly, with the next month that's coming up and the fixtures that are coming up, I wouldn't be as quick to even rule yourselves out of a title race at the moment. It's not that far a stretch when you see what can happen with results. So
yeah,
let's wait and see. We're still early days at the moment, but it's nice to be within within grasping reach of them at the minute and have a little bit of control ourselves.
Makes it a little bit more. So, and I'm sorry, I'm segueing on your show here, but that's
it's all good.
Hopefully
Frank does us a favor today.
In Frank, I trust.
Big call at the moment. Let's look at it. Chelsea starting lineup. I have a possible lineup here, so you can comment on it when we go through it. So I have Kepa in goals, Christensen, Thiago, Rudiger, Aspie, Jorginho, Kante, Alonso, Mount, Pulisic, and Havertz.
Okay,
is that what you want?
What do you want me to take out? I would personally go with Kepa in goal. I think the fact that you should always trust the keeper that got you there.
Yeah.
However, the big managers make big calls. I have a feeling Mendy will get the shout, which is causing a little bit of a debate amongst the community.
Might not sit well with his teammates either, would it? Seeing as he got you to the dance.
I would personally start with him, and I hope Tuchel kind of has that little bit of sentiment, because it's not like you're throwing some jabroni in. You know what I mean? He done a very, very capable job. In fact, he done more than a capable job while Mendy was out, because we actually had a good run of Premier League games where we didn't lose. So I would like Kepa to start personally. I think the fact that he got shown from the World Club Championship, but I understood that because it was Mendy that got us to that. Do you know what I mean?
The Champions League. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And he was goalkeeper of the year in the Champions League. So I think with this cup, I think he should get the nod. Absolutely, Kai Havertz needs to start up front. When Kai Havertz plays in that number 9 position, we are a different team altogether. I know you're a big fan of Big Kai. I think this boy is just flourishing. He looks like now something's clicked in his head, and the confidence is just...
Well, he's only going to get better and better. That's the scary thing about him.
I know.
I obviously have to bring up Big Rom. I know there's a lot of indifference between the fan base and stuff like that with what was said and what's gone on, and obviously his current form and all the crap from last week. 7 touches in a game, 2 in the first half, 1 was a tip-off, blah, 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 blah. But the physicality of him up there against the likes of potentially a Matip or a Van Dijk, would that reap rewards for players running onto him in terms of hold-up play and being strong enough and stuff like that? Or do you think Van Dijk would just work him out and he's kind of, I won't say lazy, but he looks lazy within his play, and Van Dijk would have a field day with him, as opposed to the cleverness of the likes of Havertz and Pulisic and Mount and stuff like that, which could create a different proposition for those centre-backs?
Well, like I said to you, we can go back this point last season, and I'm sure you'll find the show of me saying, this is when Pulisic steps up.
Yeah.
And he did the other week. Lovely, tidy, neat finish, because he probably knows that, the Prince of Stamford Bridge is coming back, Eden Hazard, next year, which is, I think it looks more and more likely. So he's probably like, oh shit, I need to step up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question about Romelu Lukaku, where do I begin? I'm not going to go on a tirade and call him any names or I think that could be 50-50. I understand what you're saying in like the idea of what you're saying is perfect. You know what I mean? Rom could cause, and like if you got the Inter Milan Romelu Lukaku going toe to toe with Van Dijk, that's absolutely, I'm all over it. One of the worrying things that I saw that one of the Chelsea fans on Twitter pointed out, can't remember his name, so I can't even give him props for this, unfortunately, but it showed in the Arsenal game when he first came how he was still slim and looked, and he was just literally on the shoulder and off the mark every time. And then progressively, and in no way, shape, or form are we saying Romelu Lukaku's out of shape. He's a monster. He looks better than fucking most of us. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But he can put on weight. Weight doesn't mean fat. It just means bulk. You know what I mean? Because he's a big boy. You know, you're like.
Well, he's certainly looking bigger than when he arrived. Now, we're not talking in terms of fatness and stuff like that, but we're talking about. I mean, there's shape that we'd be in, and then there's football shape, which is a very different world.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if he wants to go and wrestle for WrestleMania, fair enough. He's in perfect shape. Yeah. However, to be in the shape that he's in, playing off the shoulder, no. And I'm sick of this narrative that we have to change our way of playing to appease Lukaku. Bollocks. We are the champions of Europe. He needs to change the way he plays to fit in to how the champions of the world play.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie. I said I wasn't gonna name call, but he's quite clearly a piece of shit. He's supposedly this intelligent guy. You know what I mean? Intelligent guy. Well, an intelligent guy doesn't go and make an interview for himself and then get fined 3 weeks' wages by the club because you know he's a buffoon. Buffoon is the perfect word. Kai Havertz deserves to start tomorrow. I don't care what Lukaku could potentially do. You know, I'll tell you what potential can do. Yeah, you start Lukaku tomorrow, and potentially we could be 2-0 down by half time, and then we have to rectify it.
Yeah,
go into the game with your strongest team. Kai Havertz, Ziyech, and Pulisic or Mount.
Yeah,
100%.
Interesting.
Sorry for my rant there.
No, you're fine. No, I just wanted to get your take on it because there's a kind of a division in there. One that says that you need a bit of power and strength up there when you're dealing with two very strong centre backs like these guys. Then there's another core group there that would turn around and say, right, well, the cleverness and the ingenuity of Havertz and Pulisic and Mount and guys like that outweighs that. So,
well, look at the Anfield game at the start of the season.
Yeah,
case in point. Havertz got that header. I mean, you know, until Reece James got sent off, you boys were looking really, you know, admittedly so from your point of view.
It is interesting from a final, isn't it? Because the two teams that have played, it's really been the flip of a coin, really, in terms of what's going on. There's very little between both teams, really, isn't there, when you think about it?
Absolutely. You know, with both clubs, I think when you look at both clubs, obviously, now we have history, so you can sing that to the Man City fans now from now on. City, you have no history. That actually works better.
Fairness, they're not doing too bad.
No, I know. Yeah, they've quite a nice history actually. When you look at their stats. No, but I think with Liverpool and Chelsea, 100%. I mean, when you look at the last 20 years, I think we outweigh you by 12 trophies in terms of what we won. But it's easy to kind of stat pack. You know what I mean? That's why for all the Liverpool fans here, I'm not trying to be a dickhead here. It's easy to stat pack. But when you look at those Liverpool-Chelsea games, like you mentioned, they're so close. You never get a 4-0 or a 3-0 or a...
Tends to be, people talk about moments football. Tends to be moments, doesn't it, for two really good teams?
Yes.
I mean, you had the sending off of Reece James. Obviously, you was going down to 10 men, and it kind of killed the nature of the game. You had us going to the bridge, I think it was, and we scored two real good goals real quick. And then Kovacic pops up with a worldie to get us back in it, and we go from there, flip of a coin. So it was all these kind of things, you know what I mean? So
it is moments, actually. That's
just these moments. But the thing about it is, we're both renowned for really good football play. We're not really renowned for being moments FC. You know, so it's interesting to build up to it tomorrow from that point of view. In terms of Liverpool, Kelleher and goals, I think he's nailed on. I think unless Klopp he tries a fast one or something like that, but he's basically said he's in, and they're taken by his word. There's no doubt about it.
I don't think Klopp would lie about. I don't think Klopp would. Do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so either. Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, Salah, Mane, and Diaz. I don't think he will risk Jota straight away. He may come into the game if things aren't working for us. The only other thing there, he may, I don't know, he may go with Konate instead of Matip, but I think he'll stick with Matip because he has shown a bit of form and he's playing really, really well. And I think
he really impressed me the last game. I have to say, I watched the extended highlights of the league victory, which was well, I had to. Once I saw the scoreline, I was like, "Holy shit!"
I don't think you'll see an easier goal, like a more simple goal, but yet so brilliant in terms of it was like slow motion replay or something, was it? And the Leeds team was just standing like, there watching this unfold.
If that's your team, you're going,
track him. It's not the first time he's done it, but interesting. But and I think the midfield is kind of as strong as a midfield we're going at. There might be a question over whether Keita should go in there, but I think we have to have our captain in there, Hendo. Fabinho was absolutely sublime in his position, and Thiago looks amazing at the moment. I was reading a thing the other day that they have a special program for Thiago that keeps him fit and injury-free and all, so it's absolutely brilliant. They're really digging into science these days, and these guys that are normally injury-prone, Matip's having the season of his life. He's normally injury-prone. Thiago, the same. He's starting to come back in there now, and they're kind of babysitting him through these games, stuff like that, and he's going to be vital in the run-in. And I think the boy, have you seen much of the boy Diaz? Has he impressed you so far?
I was a fan of him anyway, from his Porto days. It was actually kind of one that I was hoping we'd make a sneaky bid for, like. But then again, I knew like he probably wouldn't fit the team. But it was one that I was like, whoever gets him is going to be. He looks sexy, doesn't he? And I mean that in terms of sexy football. Like he I have to say, like, Klopp for me is the best. He's the best manager in terms of going after targets that he wants and not settling for anything other.
There's a patience to him, isn't there?
Patience, because you look at Mourinho or Conte or we haven't seen it yet with Tuchel, and Tuchel seems to be very much in the Klopp. Like, he wants Declan Rice, and that's it. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Give me Declan Rice and give me whoever. He also said he wanted Eden Hazard as well, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? At 30, 31, it's like, well, could Tuchel be the one to fucking, bring Hazard back to his best? Would you doubt it? No. With these Germans, you wouldn't. But I think Klopp, he's so fucking, he's infuriating at times, when you're an opposition fan, because you're like, oh my God, he's fucking.
He's got it right again. He's got it right again.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. It's not because he's a dickhead, because he's actually cool. I like listening to him. He's a nice guy. He speaks the truth. You know what I mean? He's not like a Mourinho type character where.
But he just gets it. He just gets it right so many times. Like
he's fantastic, man. He's without a shadow of a doubt. I'm sure when his stint is done, he's going to go on, manage Germany, whatever, and lead them to millions more World Cups.
Scary thought, him going in there to manage Germany, isn't it?
Isn't it?
I had a look at the betting. So Chelsea are 21-10. The draws 43-20. So basically 2-1. And Liverpool are 14-10. So Liverpool are favourites for this. The only reason I'm thinking they're favourites is because current form at the moment, they're really, really good. So they're playing really, really well. They have a full complement basically to choose from, and they have options. And I think Chelsea's form has been slightly indifferent, and they've been purged with injuries and knocks and all this kind of stuff. The Lukaku stuff and everything else that's been going on has slightly derailed. But as I said,
the last game against Lille was probably one of our best performances in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across. But I agree 100%. Liverpool are the form team. I mean, if you're a smart man, smart money's on Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's still a flip of a coin. It's heads or tails. This really, you know what I mean? It's heads or tails. It's who walks out onto that hollow turf at Wembley and wants it more. Basically, the other thing I said to people yesterday is, although winning this cup is not the most amazing thing when we're both in the Champions League still and FA Cups and all this kind of stuff, I think, and the title race, obviously, I think this could be the win that pushes us on even further this season to do better things. It could be that trampoline effect where you pick up the League Cup and you go, stick our big boy chests out now and we can have a run at the league. We can do well in the Champions League. We can continue in the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. And it could become the instrumental thing that creates a crazy season for one of each of our teams.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, I think it's a fantastic book. I don't think people should, like if Plymouth Argyle won that, imagine like the noise around that. So it's not a nonsense cup. It's just because those teams are fighting for so many others that are a little bit bigger. However, I think 100% what you said is completely accurate.
Yeah. Well, it's like what I said to you when we were previewing the World Club Cup. It's only not important until you're not that team that's there.
Yeah.
Once you're that team that's there, it's the biggest thing in the world. There's no
doubt about it. It's the journey. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's only a handful of teams can wear that lovely golden badge in the middle of their jersey. That's what I say to people. It's all well and good knocking it, but it's not actually. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's not actually about that tournament. It's about what you had to do to get to that stage, and that's what people forget.
100%. Well, I mean, you've got a lot of big game players playing on the turf at Wembley tomorrow. Listen, there's a certain German boy that has a history now in the last year of scoring goals in finals, and I happen to be wearing the jersey, King Koi, as we call him now. Like, and then of course you've got Salah, who doesn't fucking sleep on the big occasion. Mane, he can be hit and miss, as you say, but he likes scoring goals against Chelsea.
And on fire at the moment. Coming off after winning the AFCON with Senegal and all. Like Mendy as well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know whether we're gonna get we don't know whether we're gonna we don't know what we got with Diaz. He could be another fucker that scores goals against Chelsea for fun. Going forward.
See, he'll go in all naive. He won't have a clue. He'll just go in and want to play ball. That's the thing about him. He doesn't know any of this history. He's just going to go out there and want to enjoy his football.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary. So I know you're going to bring predictions up soon, but man, it's an intriguing toy, isn't it? I'm going to tell you one thing right now. My anxiety levels will be through the roof, within a half an hour to kick off. And that should tell you enough that this fixture and this cup means something.
It's been a long time before any match between Chelsea and Liverpool hasn't meant something, regardless of whether it's a cup final or not.
That's also a good point.
It has spawned into it. We talk about the rivalries between ourselves and United, and obviously yourselves with the London clubs and things like that, and City on the outskirts and stuff like that. But Chelsea-Liverpool has become a rivalry because of managers, because of the shithousery, because of everything, Yeah. So it's a proper game tomorrow.
It's a friendly rivalry, but it's a rivalry all the same. Like it's I wouldn't say even so friendly, but I mean it's not life or death. You know what I mean? It's one of those where you're like, we don't like yous, but we respect yous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Give us your prediction then.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. Mm-hmm. In normal time?
Normal time. No, extra time. Extra time.
That's a big call, isn't it? And I presume Koi is going to get the second one, is he?
Yeah.
It's hardly going to be Big Rom or something, is it?
It's got to be Koi. It's got to be Koi.
I could imagine you tomorrow going, imagine Romelu Lukaku gets the second one and you're jumping up and you're going, yeah, and you're going, oh, it's fucking Lukaku.
Dude, if he scores, I'll be the most fickle fan of all time.
I can just imagine. Listen,
the thing about Lukaku is I've forgiven him for the interview.
Yeah.
What I haven't forgiven him for is the fucking effort that he's putting.
Yeah, the lack of work rate, yeah. Absolutely.
That's really what it boils down to. Look, I understand people do shit. When I call him a piece of shit, it's like, don't come to our club and say you're the biggest Chelsea fan and you grew up idolising Didier Drogba when you don't put the effort that someone like Drogba done.
Yeah.
Like, come on, kid. You know what I mean? Like, we're rooting for you. Like, you're 28 years of age. You're literally meant to be in your prime years. You should be the guy that's on the front cover of top 50 footballers of 442 magazine, the way we used to buy. You know what I mean?
Should be the guy after every weekend that's on the back page for all the right reasons and not the wrong ones.
And listen, there's still time. There's still time. So what you said earlier, like, look, if he goes with Lukaku has a point to prove. This could be the making of Lukaku too. Imagine him getting the winner.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1 Liverpool. But again, I would preface that by saying I wouldn't be surprised if it went to penalties. I think we'll come out of the blocks very fast. I think you'll kind of frustrate us a little bit and figure us out a little bit the way Tuchel does. But we'll see what happens. The one that I put in there, I do think it will be Havertz, who gets that one. But I don't know, I have a sneaky feeling about Mane tomorrow and the boy Diaz, as you mentioned. So I think we've got so many options up front there. And the way Thiago's playing at the moment, it'll be interesting to see how that midfield stacks up to your midfield. That's where I think the battle's really going to be.
Yeah,
because very interesting.
That's a really good point, actually. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think at this moment, Mateo Kovacic is one of the best midfielders on the planet. He's everything that, like, Kante was. And Kante is after getting a second fucking, obviously because of the injuries, he's fit at the moment. That Kante Kovacic midfield is quite
that run Kante made the other night. I'm a Liverpool fan and I was willing the ball into the net after that run. What a mazy little run he made for a small little guy. Like, it was class.
And then you got Kovacic, who's kind of like the stockier of the two, who likes it. Like, have you ever seen a man hitting a better volley? Like, I mean, he done it last season at Everton as well.
I'm not even going to tempt fate with that. I'm not even going to mention it. Not from the last game.
Well, I'm going to mention it. So I think, that midfield battle is very, very interesting. And I think Koi likes playing against Liverpool. You can tell, because he sneaks in, even on set pieces and stuff like that. So I know 3-1 for you. That's okay. That's a fairly decent prediction. Just don't call me after it if that's actually accurate.
Listen, we'll be WhatsApping each other all through the match anyway. This is the way it goes down with this thing.
Yeah, I know. No.
Well, look, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it will be a springboard for either team in terms of how their season is going to run out. I don't think anything is decided at this stage. I think just people are in certain races. But I think definitely it's going to have a huge impact on both teams this season, which is amazing to see that two strong, big Champions League clubs are in the final of the little known Carabao Cup, the way people talk about it. But I do think it'll be having a massive impact on both our seasons. No doubt I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back and forth on this, no doubt. It's going to be an electric, at least 90 minutes, could be 120 plus penalties.
Oh God, if it goes to penalties, no, I think the two of us will probably just, I don't know what I would do if it went to penalties. Do you?
Imagine he starts with Mendy and he subs kept on for the penalties.
Well, he should.
I know, yeah. Just imagine, it'd be crazy.
Keep that fifth sub. 100%.
Is that Mendy in there with a concussion? Are we due a concussion sub? Get your head off the post there, quick, kid.
That's literally my thinking. I'm like, right, don't make your fifth sub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on again, as always.
Yeah, pleasure having you on.
It's gonna be it's gonna be fun. I mean, it's going to be nail biting, but it's going to be fun. Like, this is why we love football, isn't it?
It's lovely to have a cup final to look forward to in February as well. I've forgotten how nice it is to be in the League Cup final this early in the season. You know what I mean? It's exciting,
it's
really
beautiful,
exciting.
Man, you know what I mean? And like, I'm used to my teams being in cup finals. I just hope next year we're in a fucking, in a title race.
Look, there's no doubt these things figure themselves out, don't they?
100%.
Well, listen, until next time, pleasure having you on. No doubt we'll be talking tomorrow. One of us is going to be happier than the other one. I don't think either of us will be overly disappointed with what we have ahead of us anyway. We definitely have bigger fish to fry this season. but certainly we will be talking.
Well, we'll do a review regardless. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whoever loses, yeah.
Till next time, this has been your Shankly Sessions Carabao Cup final preview with Ian. Also, head over to Ian's channel there, Dynamo's Dozen, out there on YouTube. He's dropping great content over there. Had the one Vince Russo on there recently. Check it out. Absolutely brilliant interview.
And yourself. And
I've been on as well. We're doing the road to WrestleMania with some really cool videos over there, top 10s and stuff like that, which is shaping up nicely.
Next week, we have the top 10 WrestleMania entrances of all time, which you nominated. So
I'm hoping Luis Diaz runs up that wing tomorrow like the Ultimate Warrior when his music hits. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I hope he runs up and he gets into the ring like Vince McMahon did, and then he pulls both quads.
You're hoping that he runs up the wing and he gasses as quickly as the Ultimate Warrior did. But we shall see. Pleasure, my friend. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck.
Cheers, bud.